Hello there, my name is Adeolu Akinyemi. People call me CM. It's an acronym for chairman. It's what I'm becoming, I believe. I'm here today and I'm excited about the opportunity to speak at the Dream Academy. I will be speaking in a few minutes on two very exciting, important topics: problem solving and wealth creation. What you need to realize is that problem solving is a wiring, is a paradigm shifting episode that helps you able to perceive problems, challenges, opportunities, and issues correctly and prefer solutions that get you rewarded. And then I'll be talking about wealth creation. This is a topic I'm absolutely passionate about, how to rewrite your script and ensure that the mistakes that 97% of society is making can be corrected in your own turn. Wealth creation, problem solving. It's going to be an exciting time today. I'd like you to tune in, listen to this, because it could very well be a significant turning point in your life. Thank you.
Dynamic, charismatic, warm, oratorical, powerful. Why?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please, I'd like you to just put your hands together for yourselves as well. You know, more often than not, you may get left out if you don't allow yourself. You know, just give it. Give it very well. Okay, that's fine. I would have said you should give yourself a standing ovation, but let me get to the heart of it. I have very limited time, and I have a lot I want to share with you in that time. I tell people every time I have the opportunity to speak that I don't speak to motivate. I can, I don't. I like the opportunity to speak to teach. And usually, if I'm allowed, I can go on for hours. Okay, so but when I have a defined time, I want to quickly get to it, and then let's quickly run together and make this work. My name is Adeolu Akinyemi. That's a picture of me in case I wasn't here. But now that I'm here, you can look at the physical picture. What I want to talk about today is two key things. I'm going to start with one, and then I will dovetail into the other. The first thing I'd like to present about is problem solving. Okay, and there are many debates about the concept of whether they are problems or not. Whether we should call them problems, or we should call them opportunities, or we should call them challenges, or we should call them a variety of things. I don't want to go into that enlightening talk about what is a problem and what is not. I want to help us practically look around us, almost with a few skill sets that we can use to face our world and then define how we want to run. I also love to tell stories, so whenever I feel like telling a story, I will tell you a story, and then we'll progress from there. Okay? Are we together? Yes. Okay, great. Now, I have a dossier here of a few things that we normally call problems. I don't want to debate that word. I want to just basically flow along with it, and then we'll take it as we go. But before I start, let me start with a story that I shared recently. It's a story that I found to be interesting and useful lately. Story? Okay. Once upon a time? Yeah. There was this kingdom, and typical of all kingdoms, what's that? You've not heard that in a while. Okay, great. Typical of all kingdoms, there's a king. And this king decided to do a very small exercise. And what did he do? What he did was he decided to look for a very critical road to the village. And he decided to place a very big log of wood on that road. And while he put the big log of wood on the road, he stayed by the side somewhere in the forest to watch the reactions of different people that will pass by. He saw his friends. The first set of people he saw passing by were his friends. They basically walked past the wood, and while they were walking past the log, they dodged the log, went to the other side, and while they were going, lamented about how irresponsible the government was. To say the government of this king is not doing anything, he's not fixing the roads. See, this one fell here over 3 days ago. Nobody has paid attention to it. Nobody's doing anything about it. This country, this village, this kingdom is irresponsible. These are the kind of people we have in leadership, and they lamented and they went back. His friends, very close friends, people that see him on a regular basis. Ladies and gentlemen, he kept on walking. He was there. While he was there watching, he saw some young guys that came around as well. Very critical. As soon as he got there, they said, see what we're saying. You know, this government doesn't work. Problems all over the place. Things are not working. It doesn't make sense. See this log of wood, very gigantic log. Can somebody not know that this is here? Is this invisible? And they criticized and lamented and all the rest of them. The king stood where he was watching all of them. As he was there watching, he saw a peasant farmer passing by who carried a bunch of vegetables on his head. And as he carried a bunch of vegetables, he was going past, and he saw the log of wood. And in his mind, he asked, wow, this thing fell here. And it probably will be obstructing people. I'm young, I'm strong, I probably can do something about it. But for the people that are coming who don't even see it, they may trip on it and fall. Something may happen to somebody, something may go wrong. So he decides to, put the vegetable he had on his head on the ground and went to the log to try and drag it. He tried to drag it for a while. It was quite difficult. It wasn't easy. It took him some time, but eventually, gradually, was able to push it and push it and push it until he pushed it off the road. Now, as soon as he pushed it off the road, he wanted to go back to pick his vegetable bowl that he was carrying. Wanted to go and get his vegetable, and he realized there was something on the ground where the wood was, where the log was. So he went there, picked up, a rumpled-looking purse, picked it up, opened it, and found inside gold coins. And he's like, wow, what's going on here? And then he sees a note inside. And the note said, these gold coins are for the person who decides to take responsibility for removing this obstacle. And as soon as he saw it, he was very excited. He wanted to get his vegetables. Then the king stepped out, shook his hands, and celebrated him. Now, many of us have called it obstacles, we've called it problems, we've called it a variety of things. But what I want to help us see today is, how do I identify quote and unquote problem in front of me? What can I do to ensure that I'm the one that can derive the reward? Because guess what? Every time there's a problem, every time there's an obstacle, every time there's a challenge, an issue, whatever you call it, okay, there exists simultaneously an opportunity for somebody to get better, an opportunity for somebody to prosper, an opportunity for somebody to access a lot more. And in order not to make it theoretical, let's look at a few key issues that face us today. In Lagos, for example, how many of us are aware that Okadas have been banned from public spaces? Yes? We're aware. Is this a problem? Sincerely? Yeah, you're not sounding like it's a problem. I get people telling me every day I have to walk longer distances, I have to cross the express, I have to do a variety of things. It's a problem, yes? Good. Now, this is a problem of themselves because it makes a lot more people walk now. People feel the government in Lagos is insensitive. Are we together? Now, in the last 14 days, if you have commented about the issue of the ban of Okadas negatively, can I see your hand? Show me your hand. You have commented about it negatively. You have said this is wrong. Something bad is happening. Okay, you have commented positively. Can I see your hand? And this is a good thing. He's helping you. Okay, great. Now listen to me. Here is a challenge we're all aware of. Okay. Now, reality is it illegal? Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions. What exactly was banned? What was banned? Eh? The use of Okadas on what? Is that really what was banned? No. Please tell me what was banned. We're mentioning something. I'd like us to go down a bit. What exactly was banned? The use of Okada as a means of transportation on major roads. Good. Now, by stating that problem correctly, somebody buzzed me and said, Adeolu, I think if you can create a logistics company that can solve XYZ problem, you will have solved a major problem. And I said to him, so what do you think I should use? I'm telling you about something that happened a few weeks ago. And I said, what do you think I should use? He said, Okadas. And in my mind, I'm like, Okadas have been banned. He said, no. Okadas have not been banned. Okadas have been banned from doing transportation. Reality is, if I give an Okada man an ID card, and I brand his Okada, I can use him as logistics. Now, reality is, many of us, we hear Okadas are banned and our minds shut totally to that door of opportunity. But reality is, by understanding and restating that problem, I may realize that something was just being given birth to. Reality is, today, Okadas are selling for less than the prices they would normally sell for. Because if they catch you with one and you don't have ideas, they will melt it. That means an average Okada man is happy to collect 30,000 naira in exchange for his Okada that cost him 60,000 naira. It means the cost of entry into that sphere of the market has become significantly low. It means that even if I'm not willing to pay immediately, the fact that this guy has an Okada parked somewhere he can no longer utilize affords me the opportunity of being able to start a business with nothing down. It means if I have the right perception of this challenge, I can create possibilities. Now, in places like Magodo, in places like Isheri, in places where there's a sense of community and a way out, reality is we might begin to see the birth of another kind of business where people can call very early in the morning and book a cab to take them out to where they can get the bus or get the BRT and etc. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying, yes, is it a problem? Is this a problem? Come on. Is this a problem? You once agreed with me it was a problem. It is a problem. Are we together? But guess what? Every time you look at it properly, you can see a myriad of possibilities coming out of this problem. That's one. And you can think about it. Logistics company, a small cab driving agency, a nothing down, as in the variety of options existing from this privilege that I've just been given. Now, one person sees it as an obstacle and something that the government is responsible for, the first two sets of people. Another person sees it and says, what can I do about this? What can I do to maximize this? Reality is all of exactly the number of people who were driving Okadas before can still be gainfully employed within systems of opportunities. What has changed is who is in charge by virtue of who can see it, who can think about it. Okay, they can be gainfully employed in a system where what's the biggest problem that you have around here? You really, I want to buy something. I'm thinking about how to get there. I want the food to be able to come to me. I want to shop at the restaurant. I don't want to really go there. Okay, that logistics, I can cure that and provide exactly the same number of Okada riders as we had before, only changing the formula. Are we together? Let's look at another problem that is in society. Is this a problem? Not enough money. Is there anybody here that has this problem? If you have this problem, can I hear your yes? Yes. Ah, the yes is too loud. It's a little too loud. Now, this is the problem, isn't it? Now, guess what? Now, the fact that you have that problem means that somebody else possibly has that problem. Yes? In fact, when I asked you to say it, the yes I heard was a bit louder than I planned for. Okay? It means in the lack of resources also exists myriads of opportunities. Somebody did an advert yesterday and said, speak to earn. And speak to earn is a course where they teach you how to speak so that you can earn. But guess what? I realized exactly the same course. Somebody called it Facilitators Academy. And somebody said, speak to earn. Now, different responses. The one that says speak to earn will garner more response. Why? Because it's addressing a big need. People don't have enough money, so they're asking, how can I earn a little more? How can I get a little more money? It means in this problem exists myriads of possibilities as well to create opportunities for people to earn more income. If I told you today, for example, that I have something in my hand that has the capacity to help you to earn more, increase your earning, it will be valuable to all the people that said yes. Now, the moment I take myself out of the equation and refuse to be selfish and look around and say, what is the impact of this problem? I am leaving the domain of where it's just called problems into opportunities. Now, I don't want to come and tell you problems are opportunities. No, let's see it. That every time you see something that looks like a challenge, particularly if it's a challenge for more than one person, you have opened a can of possibilities. Are we together? Let's go very quickly. Not enough time. Now, I'm probably not in the room where people have this challenge. But if you have a challenge of not enough time, can I hear your yes? Yes. Yeah, usually here, there's too much time. Time and money are like two sides of a lever. When you have too much time, it's because you don't have money. When you have too much money, then you don't have too much time. That it takes wisdom to balance having money and time together. Now, this is a problem many people have. Many people working, I tell people, the average worker doesn't know why he's working. Okay? He's working very hard so that I can make enough money to buy clothes so that I can take it back to work. Okay? And then he works harder so that I can make enough money to buy a car that will take him to work very fast and back home very slowly. Okay? And then he enters that grind for the next 5 to 10 years and you ask him, what has your life been about? and he's looking and saying, I've been able to provide education for my children. You know, and the children, he goes back to talk to them and they call him Uncle Daddy or Auntie Mommy. Now, that many people get lost in the thick of pursuing finance, they don't have enough time to do the things that they thought were essential before that journey started. When Daniela was asking you, what are your priorities? I was hearing family, friends. We'll ask you again in 5 years. And we'll see whether the answers will sound exactly the way they sounded now. What am I saying? People get lost somewhere here in solving this problem. They lose this one and begin to have this problem. Now, if this is a problem, then anything that is able to allow people the opportunity of having more time freedom solves the problem. And then there are many people that are interested in the dynamics that can be created from it. What am I showing you? I'm trying to show you that problems have two sides. Okay? There's a side that the average selfish person sees. I have a problem. We have a problem. And there's a side that somebody else sees that becomes a can of possibilities that allows somebody to get rewarded. Somebody benefits. Somebody gets rewarded every time a problem is solved. Okay? So if I say not enough time is a problem, and I've seen this. I went to talk to somebody one time and she was acting like, you know, I'm doing well, my work is fine and all that. So I asked her a question. She's the manager of a particular subsidiary in a particular company. So I asked her a very simple question. I said to her, who drops your children at home at 3 o'clock? And she said, the driver. I said, okay. Who does he drop them for? Said, well, I have somebody at the house that they drop them for. I said, okay. I'm not saying anything, but I heard a story about a similar person like you who was regularly dropping their kids for the person in the house. And then once in a while, the person in the house is not around, so they drop the kids for the security guard. You know, and then one day she came back quite early and found out that the security guard was actually messing up with her daughter. She said, yeah. I said, you know, so what did you say your children are again? I said, my brother, I've been thinking about it too. It's very important. Now, what I do, I just wanted her to realize that, look, this is important. It's a problem. Okay, there are people that have the problem of, everything I was looking for before has been met, but now I don't have time for the things I thought were important. In as much as it's a problem, there's an opportunity there. Okay, let's look at some other problems that we have. These are very basic problems. Food, shelter, clothing. Are we together? Now, many of us have not even thought clearly about the problems that exist. I'll give you an example. How many people have tasted tomato in the last 7 days? There has been tomato in your meal in the last 7 days. Can I see your hand? Tomato. Okay? How on earth will you exist without it? Tomato. Do you know where your tomato comes from? Do you have an idea where it comes from? From where? From the north. Okay? Do you have an idea how much a basket of tomato is? Huh? Here. Here in Lagos. 5K, 6K. Do you have an idea how much a basket of tomato is in the farms where it's being sold in the north? Yeah. You have an idea? 150. 150 naira. Good. Now watch this. Watch it. As in the figures I have are slightly different. It's 100 naira to 6,000. 100 naira at the farm, 6,000 naira here in Lagos. Now, is that a problem? Yeah? Now, where did the 5,900 naira go? Okay, perhaps transportation. Where else did he go? Profit for the businessman. Where else did he go? Huh? Now let me give you perspective. Now, food is a very big problem. Yeah, waste. 60% of the tomato that leaves the north never gets to the south. Somewhere along the way, it's too old, it's too wet, it's too bad, it doesn't make it. So the little that is available, somebody needs to pay the price for it. Now, there's a problem here. So I was talking with a friend of mine who said to me, we've been doing all sorts of businesses together. And he says to me, Adeolu, I'm 30 now. I'm growing old. You know, I'm like, 30 is growing old. I'm 30 now, I'm growing old, and I don't want to mess around with those kind of businesses that involve website e-commerce. He used to be a very solid e-commerce person. and he said, I've changed my direction. Now I am going into farming. And I want to be planting tomatoes in the south. Okay? And he gave me a few numbers and said, this and this is what I found. This is the problem that we have. Listen, every opportunity, every possibility, every idea that we will find generated will hinge on an existing problem. And guess what? You know why Nigeria is one of the most blessed countries on the earth? Because we are loaded with problems. Everywhere you turn, there is a problem. And listen to me, if you can decide to step away from the equation and not be selfish, you will see the opportunities. Now, under food, you don't even want to go into what is possible. But that's just tomato. Okay? Now, under food, there are possibilities. Under shelter, we have a shortage of housing in Nigeria. You know what that means? Many of you here, I'm sure you live in very comfortable houses. You sleep on beds. And you may not ever realize the population of Lagos that goes to bed at night in a bus, under a trailer park, in an abandoned, incomplete, there's a building opposite where my office used to be, where I realized the megad of that building is a story building, about 6 floors. It's been incomplete for the last 5 years. And I felt it was economic factors. I didn't know that there were people living there who are praying that it must not be complete. The megad there collects 500 naira per night for people who are willing to sleep there, take their bath very early in the morning, and then escape. You will find incomplete buildings around your house. I'm talking about on Allen Avenue. So don't even think it's in the corner or somewhere. Allen Avenue, very strategic building, well fenced, incomplete. There's value being generated there by somebody who sees there's a problem and is maximizing the opportunity can from it. Now, what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you that there are problems, ladies and gentlemen, loads of problems. Okay? Go and find out. You find somewhere around your house, not too far from where you are, where people are, because we have shortage of housing in Lagos is in the millions. Shortage. Now, it means anybody who is able to think through a way to create more value in housing will solve a problem. And every time, listen, it's not only the king that pulls the log on the road. Every time an obstacle is removed, every time a challenge is resolved, every time an issue, depending on the magnitude of the issue and depending on how many people it affects, there's value. Are we together? Now, in clothing, I'm sure I don't even need to go, as in, all of these have layers and layers of where you will find the challenges. Layers and layers. Okay? In food, there's food, raw material, there's fast food, there's finished food, there's shelter, there are different dimensions of it. Okay? Hotels. As in, you wonder how come hotels are popping up everywhere in Lagos. Because people are staying in them. It's very simple. There's a problem. People need to come to Lagos, and then, because it's perceived that this is where the business is happening. And then some of them don't have uncles and aunties, as in a variety of things. I'll give you something very interesting. I've realized, and let me ask you, maybe I can use this class as a sample test. How many people here are looking for accommodation? You're looking for accommodation, can I see your hand? You're looking for. Okay, you will be, okay, hold on, you're looking good. You will be looking for accommodation in the next 2 or 3 years. Can I see your hand? You will be looking for. You will need an accommodation. What kind of house would you like to rent? I want to ask you, general question. Let's say this. What kind of house would you like to rent? A 3-bedroom apartment where you will pay 2 years rent in advance, or a 1-bedroom studio apartment where you can pay 3 months ahead? A or B? A or B? Now, averagely, the young, upwardly mobile, I'm starting out in life, getting my foot on the ground, wants B. How many B's have you seen in town? Huh? What you have seen in town is face me, I was you. When I say studio apartments, I mean your kitchenette, your bathroom, everything is inclusive. It's well cleared off, and then you have your room, you have your TV there. I mean, it's a proper self-contained. I don't need to share my toilet with 12 neighbors on the row, or share my bath. How many of that do you find around? Not many. I see people who are willing to pay 250,000 naira, 200,000 naira just to get a place. Okay. Okay, great. Great. Now, what are we identifying? We are seeing that the relationship between problems and reward is too close together to even separate. That's why you ask yourself, is it really a problem or is it something I should be thankful for? Survival provides its own list of challenges and opportunities. Healthcare system. The healthcare system in Nigeria is one of the worst I've seen in the world. I've been around a few places. It's terrible here. I tell people, may you not fall sick. It sounds like a prayer. One of my friends was telling me that in Nigeria, forgive me, in Yoruba language, when you give birth to a child in Nigeria, they say "Eku ewu omo," meaning well done for the travails and the struggles of childbirth. When you give birth in the UK, they say congratulations. There are two different things. Okay, that here, in order to successfully give birth to a child, is war. Okay, and there, Sweden has not experienced death at childbirth for the past 5 years. They don't know what it means for a child to die as if they don't understand how can somebody die at childbirth? How can a mother die at childbirth? How can childbirth be a reason for somebody to die? Okay, but here, thankfully, we don't have numbers posted on any website to justify it. But here is war. As in, I've heard of, I know personal friends who that was the way they died. I know people who had a close shave at that junction. We have a very funny, problematic healthcare system. It's a big problem. Now, listen to me. The bigger the problem, the bigger the possibilities. Okay, the bigger the log, the bigger the reward. The bigger the challenge, the more far-reaching, the more people it involves, the more places it reaches, the more there's an opportunity for somebody there to be creative, look at it and say, how do I solve this? In healthcare, there are possibilities as well. The National Health Insurance Scheme, I've talked to civil servants across Nigeria. Whenever we start the topic, I know the way they look. Okay, it means it's not even solving that problem. There are possibilities there. Joblessness. Now, there's a very popular picture. I don't know if it's somewhere on my slide where you see all the world applying for a job. There's one going around recently that said 6 PhD holders, 674 master's degree holders, 8,704 BSc applied to Dangote to become drivers. Okay, to become truck drivers. Now, follow me on this. Follow me on this. Somebody was lamenting and said it's a bad thing. And I said, don't be too hasty to say it's a bad thing. Do you know how much those drivers are paid? And do you know how much lecturers are paid? If the lecturer who has a PhD feels it is more sustainable for his family's survival to drive a truck which he can drive to make a living on his way to becoming a professor, why blame him? What are we saying? We're saying there's a problem here. And listen, the bigger the problem, the bigger the reward. Okay? Maureen is here, for example. She's solving that problem. Do you understand? As in, there are many angles to this problem. Many angles. One of the very few things you will mention to the president of any country that he will take you seriously is I have a solution here. Any country. Tell him, I have a friend who told me, Adeolu, we wrote a letter to the president and they gave us audience. I told them that if they could do A, B, C in the next 12 months, we will create 1,000 jobs. What they say they were going to do? What were they saying? He was saying to them, we have a competitor that is importing their products from outside the country, from Denmark. Close that door. Let them not come into Nigeria again. And then locally here, we will create sufficient volume to hire 1,000 people. And they took them serious. And they are locking the door. Why? Because it's a big problem. The king is worried about this one. He's asking this big log here, who can solve it? Now, unfortunately, many of us will find ourselves thinking inside the problem, I don't have a job. No. That's never a way to solve a problem. That's never a way to to be on the benefiting side. You need to be able to stand out from the problem, look at the problem and say, how do I become a part of the solution to this? It's a big problem. Okay? Security. Boko Haram. And let me show you a direct parallel. I'm sure Boko Haram doesn't affect us here. Or we think it doesn't. Okay? I'll show you a few things. The security budget for Nigeria. Go and check out the way it was 2010. Go and check 2011. And check this year. This year, the average governor does not need to account for 3 billion naira. No need to account. Security budget. It means you are taking care of your security with it. You don't even need to look at what is causing it. I have never been approached. I have never seen a business possibility in buying and selling bomb detonators before. This year, that kind of business has gone around more than any other year before. You see people telling you, we can supply ammunition, we can supply all sorts of funny things. Why? There's a problem. Every time you see a problem, ladies and gentlemen, every time you are privileged to witness a problem, ask yourself, am I one of the king's friends? Am I one of the critics? Or am I the peasant farmer? What positioning am I taking? What is my positioning in this problem? Am I suffering from the consequences of it, or am I visionary enough to find how I can add value to this process? Okay? The problems are there and they exist, so that we can solve them. Power holding. And this, all of us know that we have this problem. Ghana celebrated a few years of no interruption in power supply a few years ago. And let me tell you something very funny, which is why Nigeria is struggling for a long time. I'll share this with you, because it's very funny. Whenever there's a problem, there's an opportunity. Now, it is in the best interest of the people who are solving the problems for the problems to consistently exist. Yeah. Do you understand? If you are able to solve this problem, and all of a sudden the government decides to announce that Okadas are now free to run like you are running before, it's going to destroy your business. Are we together? Are you following me? If I fix this problem and then they reverse the policy, I will take a direct hit. So, if I fix this problem very well, I'm probably lobbying the government to ensure things stay exactly the way they are. The menace of Okadas, the problems they have created, the issues they can create, the fact that they can be the introduction of Boko Haram to Lagos, the dimensions of what is possible to happen in that particular direction is what I will begin to happen, because I'm getting value from here. Power holding. We have a problem here, and the richest people in the country today are people who are providing one resource or the other to solve the problem. Okay? The reason why somebody will have a 64 billion naira debt overnight and it will cancel in 48 hours. 48 hours, 64 billion will become zero. Huh? It's because they are solving a very important problem. Okay, with diesel. With diesel, with petrol, with generators, with all kinds of rechargeable lanterns, solar powered, XYZ, a variety of things that meet these problems. But guess what? There's a relationship. There's a marriage relationship between problems and opportunities. And part time, the one that you see that there is one. To be able to challenge what exactly is going on here and does better exist. I jokingly tell people that 90% of Nigerians do not have the capacity to know that this nation is not where it's supposed to be. 90%. The only comparison that 90% of Nigeria has for saying Nigeria is not good is the past. 90% of Nigeria plus has never been near the airport, talk less of abroad. They have not seen any society where it is working except on television. So the basis for arguing and saying it can be better than this is only in relation to the past. You need to challenge the paradigm. What exactly is going on here? There's a funny story I heard. There's a guy falling off an 80-story building. He fell off an 80-story building. And then at the third floor, just before he crashes, somebody asked him, how are things going? And he said, so far so good. Now, as far as it's concerned, I've not crashed yet. Okay, but if you can think a little further, you know that it's just 3 steps away from calamity. Okay, Humpty Dumpty will crash. But by the 3rd floor, he's saying, how are things going? He says, so far, so good. Things are still going well. Now, more often than not, you need to ask yourself what exactly are the underlying belief systems that make us in this way. The brain is not a thinking machine. Understand this. The brain does not on its own accord begin to think. No. The brain is naturally going to go in directions of preset directions. That once your mind is set, the mind sets. Once your mind is set in a particular route, that is the route it is likely ever going to follow. So if you are going to ever think, the process of thinking will require challenging your pre-existing beliefs and the entire concept of what limits you, what defines you, what makes you see the world exactly the way you see the world. Remember, we said the real problem is not the problem. The real problem is how it is seen. So I need to challenge, how do I see this? Let me share something very funny with you in anticipation. 97% of society does not have the correct financial goal. 97% of society don't even have the right goal. So 97% of society is already condemned to failure on the account of the goals that they have set for themselves. Now, reality is, until I'm willing to challenge the basis of why I have the mindset that I have, I'm not ready to solve that problem. So regularly, I need to be challenging the status quo. I need to be asking myself, why? They say to people, age 0 to 5 is the age of why. 0 to 5. Say, go and put on television. Why? Go and say, stay in the room. Why? Read your book. Why? Age 5 to 17, 18 is the age of why not? Why not? Well, I want to do this. Why not? Why can't I do it? Why not? The age of 20 to date is the age of because. We learn how to give excuses for what we have believed and the directions in which our minds have set. Regularly, I need to challenge the status quo. For the average person, for example, Okada ban is a bad thing. Yes or yes? Yes. Joblessness is a bad thing, isn't it? But guess what? By challenging those paradigms, you're able to see, there's opportunity here. There's something that we can do with this. Challenge the paradigms. State the challenge, clarify the issue. Sometimes the way you have stated the problem is what is creating the mind block. I need to be able to see it from another angle. For example, what was banned in Lagos is not Okadas. What was banned is the use of Okadas for transport. That small clarification in that issue redefines the scope of what is possible. Many of us have our minds shut because of how we have defined things. Okay, so I need to be able to clarify exactly what is the problem here. What is the problem? What exactly is the issue? What exactly are we grappling with here? And listen, there's a very classical Bible story example, which whenever you read in that context always feels like, it makes sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me that a 17-year-old boy will come to a war ground to feed his brothers, and then he will see that there's a giant in town saying that he will destroy everybody, and the 17-year-old boy will say, let me try. It doesn't make any sense. If it was your younger brother, you will protect him. If it was your younger brother, you come. We know that farmlands and their soil can grow cocoa. CIA did a research on Nigeria and said the most economic value and advantage that Nigeria has is the proximity of their water to the surface. That in Nigeria, you don't need to dig too long before you hit water. We have one of the best soils that can be used for agriculture. But we're focusing on the wrong things. But let's not go to there. Let's not go to Nigeria today. I love Nigeria. Now, the first thing I need to do in your follow is identify what I have. Now, after I realize what I have, I need to do what with it? Trade. The vision you have casted is a lovely vision. But let me bust your bubble a little bit. The more grandiose your vision is, the more likely you will need finance to sort it out. I'm sorry. I don't want to be materialistic. But let me make it very clear to you. Your dream can be big, and your possibilities can be bigger. You will need finance. You will need cash, ladies and gentlemen. You will need resources, either in your own pocket or in the pockets of people who are willing to throw it in your direction. Solve that problem. So as Inyo for local government chairman, I need to get to where the limestone is and begin to dig it out. I need to get the farm engaged. And then begin to offer, listen, today in the world today, I don't even need to extract my limestone before I sell it. Do you know? I can go to a country and tell them I have limestone discovered. If you are not sure, come and check. After you check, I am willing to barter with you. For every 10 limestones you get from my land, I'm willing to give you 5 for your work. Pay me for the rest. Employ my children. Let them be working. Let us be making money. And from the monies we are making, we will create our possibilities. Now, when I have discovered what I have, I will realize that in getting market value for it, the more value I add to what I have, the more resources I can control with it. That there's a difference in the price of goats and goat skin. How will you imagine that a whole goat will cost less than a goat jacket? Because value has been added to it. Are we together? So I can realize that there's a chain of possibilities in the value that I have, in growing the value, adding to the value, etc. But my acquisition of capital, my initial acquisition of capital will be derived from trade. So Inyo Forogi has limestone. Inyo Forogi sells limestone, makes cash. Are we together? Once I begin to have cash coming in, what do I do next? Anybody? Want to solve this problem? There's money now. There's limestone. There's a company that Dangote Cement flew into Inyo Forogi to see the limestone deposit. They like the deposit. They are getting it out. We have a deal. There's money coming in. What happens? What next? I have cash now. Some cash. I have traded my value for money. I've gotten a few of my people engaged. What else do I do to Inyo Forogi as per the visions already casted? Yeah? Anybody? I do what? I draw a scale of preference on what I want to do. Most important, most pressing. Okay, I like that thought. What will you say is important? Remember, Inyo Forogi is this village we're trying to help. It's just that this village looks like many of us. That you and I as well need to start from understanding what resources do I have? What can I do? Do you have limestone? Do you have cocoa? What exactly do you have that you can trade to get the initial capital that begins to allow you to do the things that you dream to achieve for your life? Ladies and gentlemen, Inyo Forogi is somewhere on the way to Ife, but I have a feeling Inyo Forogi is in the room with me right now. So I'm asking, once I realize my resources and I'm able to trade them for value, what do I do next? The next thing is infrastructure development. I need roads. I need light. I need water. I need the basic amenities that makes it easy for me to attract the right kind of people. Once I have capital, the first assignment is to create the systems that make it easier for trade to happen. Make life better, create more options. Why are you in Lagos? Why are you not in Inyo Forogi? Because there are systems available here that make it attractive. When you ask people, come and help us, they will ask, do you have good roads? Why are there more foreigners in South Africa than Nigeria? Is it because there's less opportunity here? No. Because your insurance company will warn you before you come to Nigeria. When you get to Nigeria, you are on your own. Our insurance does not cover you across the Third Mainland Bridge. That's the reality. Many foreigners are in Nigeria. When they cross Third Mainland and come to mainland, they are on their own. Their insurance stops at the foot of the bridge. Someone, as in, because just the same way when you hear America, today you are hearing election is going on. Are we together? There are people in America who don't know election is going on. They didn't even watch television in the last 3 weeks. Do you understand? Just like here, when an average American hears Nigeria, I have somebody coming in tomorrow, for example, from Australia. He said, now I might see what's going on in Nigeria. And I'm saying, what's going on? He said, they are throwing bombs. Said, but where? As in the average vision, the foreigners about Nigeria is that we are dodging bombs. Now, as we are here now, we are waiting for it to sound. It looks funny, eh? But that's the vision there. Nigeria. But guess what? In Nigeria, this year, there have been only 2 Sundays where there was no bomb blast. Now, 2 Sundays. And I've done like 40 already. Now, what does that mean? There was no killing, no gunshot, no bomb blast, Boko Haram. So what does that mean? It means for someone who is looking at Nigeria from outside and is just watching Twitter, every Sunday morning when it's bam, 2 killed, 7 killed, 8 killed. They are killing themselves in Nigeria. Where am I going there? As in the wife of the person that is coming requested, please get police escort, police support, police guidance. I say, no problem. Say, there's problem. Everything I'm reading on the internet is showing me that there's problem in Nigeria. Now, what am I saying? You need to make the place look good. Make it attractive to be able to attract value. Infrastructure development. And then mass job creation. Tell them, don't worry, we've put roads in place. Dangote was starting to come. You need now to invite the companies that will turn the limestone into cement. The companies that will turn the cement into prefabricated bricks. The companies that will turn the prefabricated bricks into, different kinds of possibilities and solutions. This is what we need to do to you for Orogi. What about you? The moment you have value enough to approach and attract capital, what needs to begin to happen is you need to begin to develop systems around your life, networks around your life, possibilities around your life that make you able to attract the kind of things you want for your next level. Iyan Foworogi will soon be a delight of companies that have anything to do with cement. Maybe we'll convince Cadbury to come and put a plant there because we know that in marketing, one of the things you want to achieve is proximity to raw materials. So instead of packing cocoa from there and taking it to Lagos into Cadbury, can Cadbury come and set the site at Iyan Foworogi? Once Cadbury comes, I get more jobs for the people in my community. Once Cadbury comes, we send a letter to another company. What's their name now? It was Mars to go and make chocolates. To say Cadbury is here. Okay, we need chocolates. 90% of the chocolates we freaking consume in this country is imported. Do you understand? We have major problems. And it provides major opportunities. So Iyan Foworogi gets Cadbury to come. Because Cadbury comes, all the people supplying Cadbury different things. Myriads of companies are supplying these, providing logistics, providing transportation. Different people come, they come with their expert trades, blah, 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 blah. There's infrastructure. They're asking, is there good road? Is there good healthcare? Is there this? Is there that? If I fall sick here, will I be safe? You're safe. How do I do this for my life? Once I begin to get the first initial part, identify the things I can do and get an opportunity, for trade, I begin to trade and have some cash. I begin to build systems around my life that make it easier for me to attract the kind of relationships I want to build. I want to do business with this kind of persons. I want to do this, create the systems. I tell people here, you are building systems. There are things that someone was telling me some time ago. He said, Adeolu, you are into too many things. If you need to create the right kind of audience to this particular direction, you need to create a system where you have somebody else totally on top of that thing, separate yourself from it. Because if you are clustered as well, nobody wants to put their money completely in your hands. Because they know that if this one doesn't succeed, another one will succeed. So, you need to create a system where this is what this is doing. And then people can empty their lives into it knowing that somebody's responsible in that area. Create systems. Create systems. Create networks. Create value chains. Create organizations around the value and the resource you have identified. And then number 3 is industrialization. When there's light, there are roads, there's water, basic housing, companies are attracted. Rather than just being the sites for the resource of raw materials, they want to move close. Jobs are created. Companies fight over themselves in competition. Wealth becomes passive. Ladies and gentlemen, what raw material does Lagos have? Water. How much money is Lagos making from water? The resource today is you and I. The major resource today is you and I. And that's why you see signboard all over the place, pay your tax. And you see very well respected men of God also ushering your television to pay your tax. Because if I can get the money from tax from the companies and from the individuals and from the levies and everything that has been taxed in Lagos State, I'm fine. If I can erect Lekki Express Ekpewe and charge per car, that's fine. Because once you've created a system of value and you have attracted and they have come, it's passive income. Now, in my life and your life as well, the goal of every young person, every individual, ladies and gentlemen, must be a time must come in my life, whether I wake or I sleep, I earn sufficient to take care of my needs. That time must come. And that's where we're going. Well,
hello. It's been an exciting 2.5 to 3 hours talking about problem solving and wealth creation. And in case you missed out on being there, I want to recommend that you get the DVD, get the tapes, get the video, the audio. Ensure that you watch this not once, not twice, as many times as it takes you to internalize these principles. Sometimes I found myself saying and going into details about things I have never spoken about anywhere else. In this current academy, I share some very interesting insights in wealth creation and problem solving that are an essential combination to help you in your journey forward. I want to recommend that you get the materials, listen to them as often as you can. It was wow, it was explosive at the Gym Academy today. If you are not part of it physically, you can still be a part of it. Thank you.